Welcome again, Wildcats. All right, so today we're looking at Wednesday, April 26th, operations of polynomials, and that's going to be on page 77. So if you would, pause the video and update your table of contents. All right, now your table of contents are updated. Let's take a look at our notes. All right, so we're looking at operations of polynomials on page 77. All right, so operations of polynomial steps. Step 1, composition of functions. Refer to page 10 for composition of function notes. Step 2, distribute. Step 3, combine like terms. Step 4, write in standard form. So if you would, pause video and update your notes. All right, now your notes are updated. Let's take a look at the examples. All right, it says perform the indicated operation, identify the restriction. Now, since it's operation, I'm going to go and do example 1 because it has addition, example 2 because it has subtraction, example 3 because it has multiplication, and example 4 because it has division. So I'm going to do those 4 examples in the video to cover all the operations, okay? And then we're going to identify the restrictions. Now, it has a restriction if there's a denominator or a square root, okay? So let's take a look at example number 1. So that is f of x plus g of x. Now we're going to add vertically, so f of x is 2x squared plus 4x minus 6, and we're adding 2x minus 2. And notice I've kept the x's lined up and the numbers lined up. So let's go ahead and add. So you get 2x squared. 4x and 2x is 6x. And negative 6 and negative 2 is a negative 8. All right, so pause for a few seconds and update example 1. All right, now you have that updated. Let's talk about the restrictions. It doesn't have a denominator. It doesn't have square root, so there are no restrictions. Okay. Now let's look at example 2. All right, so that is f of x minus g of x. So f of x is 2x squared plus 4x minus 6. Now, I didn't do this in yesterday's lesson, but I'm going to do it today, and that we're going to actually subtract vertically. But if you can do that, since you're subtracting, you have to distribute the negative by the 2x and the negative 2. So that becomes negative 2x plus 2. Now, if you just watched that and you were like, what just happened? Don't worry. You can ask me in class, and I'll go over another way to do it, or re-explain this in more detail, okay? All right. So you get 2x squared. 4x minus 2x is 2x. And then negative 6 plus 2 is a negative. Go ahead and pause for a few seconds and update example 2. All right, now that example 2 is updated, let's talk about the restrictions. There's no denominator, no square root, so there are no restrictions. Okay. All right, let's look at example 3. All right, example 3. So that is g of x times f of x. All right, so g of x is 2x minus 2 times f of x, which is 2x squared plus 4x minus 6. All right, so we're going to force. We're going to multiply 2x by each of the terms and negative 2 by each of the terms. So you get 2x times 2x is 4x cubed. 2x times 4x is a positive 8x squared. 2x times negative 6 is a negative 12x. Now we're going to combine vertically, so then we're going to multiply by negative 2. So negative 2 times 2x squared is a negative 4x squared. Negative 2 times 4 is a negative 8x. and then negative 2 times negative 6 is a positive 12. Okay, so you get 4x cubed, 8x squared minus 4x squared is a positive 4x squared. Negative 12x and negative 8x is a negative 20x plus 12. All right, pause for a few seconds and update example 3. All right, since example 3 doesn't have a denominator and no square root, there are no restrictions. All right, so let's move on to example 4. Our example 4, so that is f of x divided by g of x. All right, so that is f of x, which is 2x squared plus 4x minus 6 divided by 2x minus 2. All right, so we're going to divide by factoring, and it looks like we can factor out a 2 from the numerator, all the terms in the numerator, and 2 from all the terms in the denominator. So that is 2x squared plus 2x minus 3 divided by 2 times x minus 1. All right, so you see that 2 divided by 2 is 1, so now we need to factor the numerator. Okay, so that's 2 parentheses. All right, we know x and x make x squared. All right, now we're trying to find all the combinations that make negative 3 combined to be 2. So if you want to pause and try to find the factors and try to find those numbers, go ahead and do so. All right, so you should have gotten that x minus 1 and x plus 3, because negative 1 times 3 is negative 3, and 3 minus 1 is 2. Okay, so you see here that x minus 1 divided by x minus 1, so we're left with x plus 3. Now, this one has a restriction because you have the denominator. Even though it divides and becomes 1, you still have that denominator. So you set x minus 1 equal to 0 and solve. So x equals 1 is your restriction. All right, so that should get you through enough to try example 5, 6, 7, and 8, and maybe even to the assignment. I will say that there's more restrictions in example 5, 6, 7, and 8 possibility, because if you look at the functions. Now, if I need to, I'll go over example 1, 2, 3, and 4 in class. But I'll definitely go over example 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, so with that, have a very restricted Wildcat day.